Hey, Code Blue. Super excited that we're back for another episode of our For the Love of series. I hope that these past few weeks, these videos have been super helpful to you as far as giving you insight, inspiration, and just giving you some direction within your business and your entrepreneurship journey as you grow and scale your business. So, for this week, on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about for the love of tough love. Endurance is what is going to help you grow your business at the foundation. So, we'll talk a little bit about just endurance and what that looks like as you begin to grow and scale your business, okay? So, of course, building a business is great. So when you first start out, oftentimes you have like all of this excitement. You've gotten your LLC. You've gotten to a place where you're like, okay, I got my articles of association back. I've gotten through any type of business permits that I may need. I also have my website. I'm in the process of building my business credit. And then oftentimes what you see with a lot of entrepreneurs is they'll start that process, right? Where you'll see them like scaling and like kind of going up, and then you just kind of like see like the slow dip, right? Because maybe in the beginning they may not have clients, or they may be in an industry where it takes a while to build up clientele, right? And so oftentimes it's moments when you lose that spark of endurance that you'll see a lot of entrepreneurs just kind of give up. So we want to talk about that today. We want to talk about just like building that endurance because success does not happen overnight, right? It takes stamina, resilience, and a whole lot of grit to stay in this game called entrepreneurship, okay? I've talked about this before and I'll say it again. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. If you are an individual who gives up easily, my hope and my prayer is that that's something that you work on before going into entrepreneurship. However, if you know, like, hey, I give up easily, I want to see a check every 2 weeks, I want to know that I'm getting paid every 2 weeks, then this industry is not for you. But if you are an individual, however, who is looking to grow clientele, looking to gain revenue daily as well as weekly and monthly, you're looking to build a business that you feel like your industry needs, or you're looking to bring a new perspective to a specific industry, then this is for you. Be sure to stay all the way to the end, okay? So when we talk about just endurance, right? Think of it like running a marathon. You don't sprint the whole way. You pace yourself, you stay focused on your goal, and then you push through the moments when you feel like you're about to give up. I remember when I was at a really low place within my life, I was trying to maneuver, within my personal finances, and it didn't seem like anything was kind of like working out for me when it came down to what my goal was for myself personally. And I remember I was sitting in the car with a friend, and I remember turning to her, and I was like full blown tears, you guys. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. I said, but for some reason, like, I want to give up, but I just can't. And I had never felt like that ever in my life. Like, I'm just bawling my eyes out. And I remember, I think I had to pull over at that time. And I'm like, I want to give up so bad. I said, but something in me, like, just will not let me give up. No matter how bad I want to, I just can't stop trying. I can't stop pushing. I can't stop going towards my goal. And she says to me, she was like, people strive their whole lives to have that level of grit that you have. And so I just hope that in today's video, I can give you just a little bit of insight to whereas if you're struggling, or even if you don't have that grit, and this is like the first time that you've ever had to fight so hard for anything in your life, I pray that it's for your business. And I hope that you continue to strive, because I know that your business is not only going to change your life, but it's going to change the lives of others. So I'm super excited for today's video with you guys. So why endurance is successful? When it comes down to endurance, it's important, and the reason why endurance is needed to be successful is because business is a long game. I just was talking about just how with certain industries, it may not be where you have clients within your first, few months. I remember starting out in real estate. I want to say I got licensed in March. I didn't have my first client until August. Now, of course, that was ultimately because I didn't know what I was doing, and I ended up getting some help from my sphere of influence along the way. But oftentimes, depending upon your industry, it may be a while before you see a return on your investment, or you see success after you've been grinding and like pushing forward, right? So here are a few tips about when it comes down to business and endurance, right? So setbacks are inevitable. You'll face failures, you'll have slow periods and moments of doubt. Endurance will help you bounce back stronger, right? So there will be moments where you have slow seasons. Some of you already know from other videos that I currently work in sales. So in my industry that I work in, for my employer, there are slow months. So for example, like November, December, January are extremely slow in our industry. And so with my commissions that I receive, it's important for me not only to be responsible with that, but also prepare my book of business for the slow months, right? It's important for you to always have an overflow when it comes down to that. And we can also kind of do it in another video, talk about how to have overflow, especially like during your slow months. Also, outside of the work that I do for my employer, when it comes down to real estate has slow months. Think about the times that are, for example, people are moving. People are oftentimes like not buying houses in December. It happens. Some people might, surprise a person, but oftentimes like December, like November, December, around the holidays are super slow with the real estate industry. And then come like the new year, spring, people are gearing up, they're getting their houses ready to sell. And then of course months like summer months are really hot for people to buy, especially since a lot of people have families. They may want to get into certain counties for school districts, to be able to have their children go to certain schools. That's a big thing here. People moving to certain counties based off of certain schools, and they want their kids to go to school in that district. So I know that like with each business, it's going to be different. So you want to be sure to understand that there may be setbacks or slow seasons, but how to prepare for that. Growth takes time. From building your audience to scaling your operations, success is not instant at all. Endurance gives you the patience to trust the process, right? So with growth, it may sometimes, depending upon the industry that you're going in, you may need to learn that craft. I know I often use the example of photography. You may not know anything about photography, but there are certain lenses you may need, or a certain camera depending upon your niche, right? It's important for you to give yourself room to have grace to grow within that, because growth takes time. You're not going to start off and be the best photographer in the world unless that's something you've been practicing and like exercising that craft over time. But if you're new to this, you have to grow into that, and understanding what you're doing, and that takes time, as well as building operations. That's one thing that I will say within a business. And when you grow, each business is going to be unique based off of what what you're trying to do as far as growth within your business. So your operations processes may look different compared to another entrepreneur. So give yourself like time and grace to be able to grow into that. Opportunities favor the persistent, right? I will definitely agree. When it comes down to finding opportunities, it's those individuals who stay consistent with, who stay persistent, are the ones that are actually favored with various different opportunities. I remember, again, I have to give you a real estate example, you guys. When I first started out on my real estate journey, I had a client who, she came and she looked at a couple of homes, and she's like, Kaija, I'm not ready right now to actually buy a home. She gave me all the excuses in the book, but I was adamant, like, I know that she's ready, but she keeps finding different excuses and hurdles when it comes down to home ownership. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try something out. And this was my first time. I didn't really even understand like the follow-up process. I didn't even understand what that meant. But something told me like, just be persistent. Like, don't give up. So I remember I saved her name in my phone, right? So I want to say a few weeks later, she called me, and I can't remember what exactly her name was, but I said, hey, I'm just going to say Mrs. Jones for the sake of this example. I'm like, hey, hey, Mrs. Jones, how are you today? And she's like, you saved my name and my number? I said, yeah, of course, absolutely. I said, I wanted to make sure, I could put a face with the name when you called back. And she's like, wow. She's like, I really appreciate that you didn't just take, you weren't just trying to sell me a house. Like, you understood like that I was willing to wait and that I want to grow within this process. And then I also took notes with her too as well, like what she wanted within a home and actually figuring out what her needs and wants were. And she ended up buying a home for me. So think about in that scenario, other agents may have, oh, she's not ready, or oh, she's not serious, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to follow back up with her. I was persistent, and when others didn't call back and didn't, necessarily follow up, she was willing and open to hear about my community and see the different floor plans that we had and that we were building within that subdivision at the time. And here's a tip too to think about. Just when it comes to being persistent, right? You don't always have to be the most experienced. You don't have to have all of the accolades, but the fact that you were persistent enough and you endured through the process, like through a sales process, or you endured through providing a client with great customer service, that not only will create one client, but it can also create referrals for you. The most persistent person is not always the most qualified, but I will tell you, oftentimes customers will stick with someone that's persistent and professional over someone who may have thousands of years of experience, but their follow-up sucks. So just understand that and keep that with you. Opportunities come to those who are persistent. So also, when it comes down to endurance, you have to have mental and emotional endurance in order to endure within business. You're going to have people who tell you, they may say, oh, I dislike your business, or, oh, I don't like your products, or whatever the case may be. You have to have like a mental fortress around your mind to block individuals out, continue to hone in on your craft, and continue to scale your business as you grow, right? So when it comes down to just building mental and emotional endurance, that looks like defining your why. We talked about that before as well. So your why may pivot as you continue to grow within your business, right? It may not always look like the same thing, but it's important for you to pivot within your business as you continue to develop your why. Practicing self-discipline. Endurance is not always about waiting for motivation. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. We've talked about that as well. So it's not going to look, entrepreneurship and growth within your business is not going to look like you feel like doing it every day. It's not. Some days you may wake up and say, I literally want to lay in the bed and watch TV all day, but I need to get up and write my book, or I need to get up and develop my processes and different automations within my business. It's not going to always look like you feel like it. And I'm a firm advocate that our feelings can be liars. So you're not going to always feel like doing certain things within your business, and that's okay. But what is important is that you're actually getting up and striving towards those things each day. Okay. And then also, you want to create routines, especially when it comes to things like planning, networking, and self-care. Self-care is extremely important. Being that I'm in a major city, certain things can be more affordable because there's a lot of people who may offer those services. So for example, when I first started out in real estate, it was really intense for me. So I used to I want to say it was like $40. Like I used to spend like $40 a week and go get a massage for like 1 hour. And that would literally help me de-stress, kind of relax and not have as much stress and just be able to just have that self-care. And I would always feel amazing. So I remember the first time I got a massage ever as an adult. And I was like, you know what? This is amazing. I have to come back here next week because I already know my week is going to be intense. But I'm looking forward to my self-care massage weekly to help me through that process. So that's extremely important. Also, taking care of yourself. You cannot run a marathon on empty, right? You have to eat well, sleep, and give yourself permission to rest when needed. Your endurance depends on your energy, right? So, for example, if you know that you're always sleepy, you're always tired, be mindful of what you eat. Be mindful of like getting some exercise. If that looks like a 30-minute walk each day, or you haven't, purchasing some exercise equipment to be able to exercise from home to like, lower your stress levels, whatever that may look like for you. You want to take care of your body. You want to make sure you're getting adequate sleep. I remember when I first started out on my entrepreneurship journey, I used to think like, oh no, I need to stay up all night and get like 3 hours of sleep and then go to work, and this is gonna help me. This is gonna grow my business, being able to just dedicate every waking hour. And I'm like, no, I function better. And again, for some people that may work, but me personally, and from any entrepreneur that I know that is doing well, they get adequate sleep. Even with myself, like I have to get sleep or I'm not going to be able to function during the day. And what I mean by that is, for me personally, like if I don't get good sleep, like I've literally poured water in cereal before and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? So I have to get good rest or I'm not going to be able to function, and my creative juices are not going to flow for me to be able to have endurance within my business. So make sure you're getting good sleep. Also, you want to be sure to pace yourself. Do not try to do everything at once. Do not try to, do 15,000 tasks in one day. A good day for you may look like successfully completing 5 tasks, right? But don't sit here and try to stress yourself out and end up with burnout when you could have easily like just kind of paced yourself. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint with your business, right? You want to build a support system, whether it's a mentor, business coach, or the Kode Blue Community. I also have the links below. You can actually join the Kode Blue Community. We're doing a lot of great things in the next few months. Also, you want to have people that understand the grind and will keep you motivated and accountable. I remember when I started out on my journey, I had a friend, and we still talk to this day. That's the crazy part. But I remember I would be so excited regarding my business. We would be up like 1:00 in the morning, like brainstorming, and I would ask her, like, hey, what do you think about this? Or do you think I should pivot with this? Or what do you think about this process? How do you like this? And we would literally be up, and I'm like, oh man, it's like 1:00 in the morning. I have to get some rest, which ultimately I told you guys like I had to start doing because it was making me super sleepy and just not good on my body during the day. And so I would stay up and I would just be so excited about entrepreneurship that, I didn't get any rest. So, also make sure you have that support system. When you are doing something that you love, like time flies by quickly, okay? And then diversify your skills. That's highly important. The more you know, the more adaptable you'll be when challenges arrive. Invest in learning more, whether it's marketing, sales, or leadership skills. So for example, you may have more experience in a specific industry. Like for example, I'm going to use photography. You may know more about photography, but you don't have sales skills or you don't have marketing skills. It's important to invest in learning about those. Even if, let's say, your ultimate goal is to hire someone to do that, you want to make sure that they're doing that correctly. So the only way you're going to know if someone is doing a specific task or a specific operation within your business correctly is actually knowing how to do that operation yourself. So that's important. Don't shy away from or feel intimidated by skills that you may not know, by you diversifying. And that may look like taking an online class. That may look like finding a Facebook group that meets up, weekly, and they, work on their sales skills or they work on marketing. There's different ways for you to be able to also find opportunities that may be paid as well as free opportunities. So you want to be sure to do that. Also, it's important for you to measure your progress, right? So if you know like, hey, my goal is to take a sales class online, and you decide, hey, I found a sales class, it's a $50 class, I'm going to invest in it. If the sales class is in 3 parts, right? You need to make sure that you're pacing yourself to actually complete the class. Don't just buy the course and, I did 10 minutes of it on the day that I bought it and I never picked the course up again, or I never logged back in and tried to learn anything else from it. You need to have a plan that's also incorporated within your daily strategy. So for example, working on your business may look like, working on photography tasks, but that also should also incorporate, if sales is not your strong suit, oh, I'm going to spend 45 minutes working on my sales course. So you want to make sure to incorporate that within your business as well. And then also celebrate your milestones. Whether it's a small win or a big win, you're going to want to celebrate those. So if that looks like, hey, once I complete my sales course, I was so, nervous about it, but I completed my sales course, which taught me a lot about sales. I'm going to take myself out for ice cream, or I'm going to take myself out to my favorite restaurant. Celebrate your milestones. Don't wait until I've made it, to what you may consider the big leagues to actually celebrate yourself. You want to celebrate yourself and acknowledge it along the way. It'll help you as far as like keeping your energy high and your focus sharp. Okay. And then also, I understand that building endurance in business it isn't easy, but it's what will set you apart. Remember that every great business owner, whether it's Elon Musk or even Oprah, they have challenges. They've had setbacks. They have moments of when they wanted to give up, but they didn't. Endurance is what's going to help you play the long game. If you feel like you struggle with that, begin to start to develop some of those skill sets, like we talked about with like diversifying your skill set, developing your plan, remembering your why. These are all things that are going to help you as far as your growth when it comes to endurance within your business. If you like this video, you want to see more content like it. Also, if you have any certain topics that you want for me to cover, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when these Kode Blue videos are dropping. And also comment below. Let me know like what you may be struggling with when it comes down to endurance. We can talk about it and get some more insight from the Kode Blue community for you to kind of help encourage you and support you on this journey. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, an amazing week, and as always, talk to you soon. Bye.